The sleek silver Tesla jet cut through the twilight like a blade, its engines humming steady over the endless Nevada desert. Inside, Elon Musk lounged in a leather seat, one leg hooked over the armrest, tablet glowing in his hands as he scrolled through Starbase schematics. Outside, the sky burned a deep, unnatural red. Not the soft fade of sunset, but a thick crimson that pressed against the windows, heavy and alive, like blood spilled across the horizon. He'd flown through storms, dodged rocket debris, but this felt different, charged, restless. After a week of breakthroughs at Starbase, this trip to a remote test site carried a weight he couldn't shake. He glanced up, voice cutting through the cabin's quiet hum. "Reggie, what's with this sky?" Captain Reginald Dawson, Reggie to the crew, sat rigid in the cockpit, his weathered hands steady on the controls. He tilted his head, squinting at the red expanse beyond the windshield. "No idea, sir. No storms on radar, no fires, just this color. Weird as hell." His fingers tightened, leather creaking faintly under his grip. Reggie had piloted Elon through chaos, hurricanes, war zones, but this sky prickled his nerves in a way he couldn't name. Beside Elon, Leora Chong hunched over her laptop, fingers flying across the keys, her dark hair spilling loose over one shoulder. "Starbase says the new thruster's ready," she said without looking up, voice crisp. "Simulations hit 98% efficiency. They're calling it your monster down there." A faint smirk tugged her lips, sharp and dry. Elon grinned, quick and bright, swiping his tablet. "Good, let's make it 100. World needs a shove." Leora was his rock, smart, brutal when his ideas got too wild, like that coffee maker he'd once pitched. She'd killed it with one word, and he'd hired her the next day. Her steady edge kept him grounded, even now, thousands of feet up. A harsh static buzz filled the cabin, sharp and sudden, cutting through the speakers like a live wire snapping. Elon frowned, head tilting. Silence followed, then another burst, louder, rasping against the jet's hum. "Reggie, you getting this?" "Yeah," Reggie called back, hands moving fast over the comms panel, switches clicking under his fingers. "Not ours, something outside, hitting our frequencies hard." His voice tightened, worry seeping through his usual calm. "Too strong for up here, shouldn't be possible." Leora's typing stopped, her brow creasing. "Interference." Elon shook his head, tablet already open to a signal analyzer, green lines spiking wild across the screen. Not just interference, structured, deliberate. He traced the jagged peaks, mind racing. Not FAA, not military, too complex. Code, maybe. The jet lurched hard, a deep grinding noise rumbling through the floor, followed by a piercing screech as metal strained somewhere aft. Leora's pen slid off her lap, clattering against the wall, and a red warning light flared on, its shrill beeping slicing the air. "Engine 2's overheating," Reggie shouted, hands flying over the controls, switches snapping under his palms. "Shutting it down, hold on." The jet tilted right, the second engine's hum choking into a ragged whine before dying silent. Elon unbuckled, steadying himself against the seat as he moved to the cockpit, the floor shuddering beneath him. Reggie's console glowed with alerts. Engine 2 flatlined, its gauges pinned deep in the red zone. "Options?" Elon asked, voice calm, brain already calculating thrust, distance, fuel burn. "Engine 1's still alive," Reggie said, sweat beading on his forehead as he wrestled the yoke, hydraulics groaning under his grip. "But we're losing power fast, nearest strip's 80 miles east. Might not make it." Elon peered out the windshield. Below, the desert stretched vast and red, dunes and rock glowing under that strange sky like a sea of rust. "Land here," he said, pointing at the flat expanse. "Sand soft, bases hard, room to skid." Reggie's eyes widened, voice rising. "Here. No runway, no beacon, just dirt and rocks." "Better than crashing," Elon shot back, firm and even. "You landed in Afghanistan, '08, dirt strip, bullets flying. This is nothing." Reggie's jaw clenched, a flicker of pride cutting through his tension. "Fair point. Strap in, this'll be rough." He banked the jet left, a low moan rising from the frame as altitude dropped fast, the desert rushing up to meet them. Leora slammed her laptop shut, buckling in beside Elon, her belt clicking tight. "Raise if we survive," she muttered, fingers gripping the armrests, knuckles paling. Her eyes met his, steady, but a tremble hid in her voice. "Done," Elon said, flashing a quick grin, half bravado, half trust. "Reggie's got us." "Mayday, mayday," Reggie barked into the radio, his voice sharp over the cabin speakers. "Tesla November 881 Zulu, engine failure, emergency landing coordinates." A loud hiss of static swallowed the rest, the interference roaring in like an angry swarm, drowning his words. "Radio's dead," he yelled, slamming the panel, a dull thunk echoing back. The jet dipped nose down, Reggie fighting the controls as a horrible scraping sound vibrated through the hull. Outside, dunes loomed, smooth curves broken by jagged outcrops, their shadows stretching black under the red sky. "Brace!" Reggie shouted, hands white on the yoke. "Now!" Elon tucked his head, arms crossed tight, the jet's frame rattling as it hit the sand with a jarring jolt that shook his teeth. A deafening scraping noise filled the cabin, metal dragging against earth, sand lashing the windows like a storm of rust. The jet bounced hard, a violent shudder tossing Leora forward in her seat with a sharp gasp, then bounced again, gear clattering loose, tablets sliding, a mug smashing against the wall. A final grinding crunch slammed them still, dust swirling thick in the air, the engine's hum replaced by a faint hiss of leaking lines and the groan of cooling metal. "Everyone in one piece?" Reggie called, unbuckling with a groan, rubbing his cheek where it had hit the console. A bruise spread purple under his stubble, but his eyes were clear, darting over the dead screens. "Still breathing," Leora said, brushing sand from her sleeve with a shaky hand. She shot Elon a look, her calm cracking. "You're nuts, landing in the middle of nowhere over some signal?" "Smart risk," Elon replied, already up, steadying himself on the tilted floor. He grabbed his tablet, screen cracked but alive, and peered out a fractured window. The desert sprawled endless, red and desolate under that alien sky, dust glittering faintly in the fading light. Then he caught it, a glint sharp and cold, slicing through the haze a mile out. "There, see that?" Reggie stepped up, squinting through the grime-streaked glass. "Wreckage? Another plane?" The shimmer held steady, metallic, too clean for debris. "No," Elon said, voice low, sparking with curiosity. "Too perfect, edges, angles. Not natural." He snatched a flashlight from the emergency kit, its beam flaring bright as he clicked it on, adrenaline humming in his chest. "We're going out there. Now!" Leora stood, brushing sand from her jeans, laptop tucked under her arm, her voice climbing. "We just crashed. Shouldn't we focus on rescue, not chasing shadows?" "Something downed us," Elon said, turning to her, eyes glinting with that wild hunger she knew too well. "Something smart, sending that signal. Rescue waits. We figure this out first." "Coming." She sighed, long and dramatic, grabbing a water bottle and a flare gun from the kit, its metal clinking as she holstered it. "Fine, but if it's aliens, I'm not negotiating. And you carry my stuff when I'm done." Elon grinned, tossing her a spare flashlight that landed with a soft thud in her palm. "Deal." Reggie smirked, slinging a survival pack over his shoulder. First aid, flares, a knife rattling faintly against the side. "Let's move, sun's almost gone, and this desert turns cold quick." He shoved the cabin door open with a grunt, warped metal screeching as sand spilled in, red light flooding the interior. They stepped onto the desert floor, boots sinking into warm sand that crunched faintly, shimmering like iron dust underfoot. The air struck them, dry, thick with heat and a metallic bite that stung their noses. Above, the sky deepened to a darker red, the sun's last edge sinking away, casting long shadows from the jet's twisted frame. A sudden popping noise came from the wreckage, cooling metal snapping sharp in the stillness, making Reggie's hand twitch toward his flare gun. Elon clicked his flashlight on, its beam slicing a pale line through the growing dusk. His tablet buzzed faintly, the analyzer still tracking the signal. Wilder now, spiking with every step he took toward the glint. "Whatever this is," he said, voice steady but alive with possibility. "It wanted us here." Leora fell in beside him, her flashlight sweeping the dunes, light catching glints of quartz, or something stranger, in the sand. "Or it wanted you," she muttered, half joking, half wary. Reggie trailed behind, eyes scanning the horizon, his pack jostling with each step. Red sky, weird signal, crash landing. None of this feels random. A gust of wind whipped up, howling low across the desert, kicking sand against their legs with a soft hiss. Ahead, the glint sharpened into a structure, half buried, its edges gleaming cold and precise against the chaos of sand and shadow. Elon's breath quickened, a thrill cutting through the dust. Whatever waited out there, it wasn't just wreckage, it was a door to something bigger. Sand crunched under Elon Musk's boots as he trudged toward the glinting structure, the desert wind whipping a low howl around him, tugging at his jacket. The sky above pressed down, a deep red shroud swallowing the last of the sun, casting the dunes in a glow that shimmered like rust. His flashlight beam sliced through the dusk, catching faint sparkles in the sand. Iron flecks, maybe, or something stranger. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson followed, their steps sinking into the soft earth, breaths puffing white in the cooling air. "How far?" Elon asked, voice cutting sharp over the wind, his tablet glowing faintly as he tracked the signal. Wild spikes dancing across the screen. "Half a mile, maybe less," Reggie said, squinting into the haze, his survival pack jostling with each step, a faint rattle of gear echoing back. "Wind's picking up, our tracks won't last long." His tone stayed steady, but his hand hovered near the flare gun on his hip, a habit from darker days. Leora adjusted her grip on her flashlight, its beam sweeping the dunes. "Good, less for whatever crashed us to follow." Her voice carried a dry edge, but her eyes darted quick to every shadow, flare gun tucked tight against her side. Sand clung to her jeans, dusting her jacket as the air thickened with that metallic bite. Elon kept moving, eyes locked on the structure ahead. It loomed sharper now, a tower rising from the sand, its sleek black surface swallowing the red light, edges too smooth for nature to have carved. No seams, no rust, just a cold, perfect curve that hummed faintly as they neared, a vibration tingling through their boots. The signal's buzz grew louder in his tablet, erratic and alive, pulling him forward like a thread. "Looks like it's waiting," Leora said, stopping beside him, her light playing across the base. "No doors, no marks. How's it even standing out here?" "Not standing," Elon said, crouching low, brushing sand away with a quick scrape of his hand. His fingers met icy metal, a faint buzzing hum pulsing under his touch. "Anchored deep roots. This isn't wreckage, it's built." He stood, tablet flaring as the signal spiked harder. "Sources inside, close now." Reggie circled the tower, his flashlight probing the smooth curve, its beam swallowed by the dark surface. "Built by who?" "No tracks, no signs, nothing but us and that damn signal." He tilted his head up, the red sky pressing heavier, no stars breaking through. "Feels wrong, too quiet." Elon traced the tower's edge with his light, stopping where it dipped inward. A shallow hollow, barely a shadow against the black. He pressed his palm there, and a soft hiss broke the stillness, the surface sliding open to reveal a dark chamber within. Stale air rushed out, sharp with ozone and a sour tang that stung their noses, dust swirling in the beam's glow. Leora stepped back, flare gun half raised, her voice low. "Sure about this? Could be a trap. Whatever took us down might be waiting." "Traps don't call you in," Elon said, voice steady, eyes glinting with restless hunger. He shone his light inside, smooth walls curved into a spiral ramp, descending into shadow, a faint blue flicker pulsing at its heart. "This is tech, smart tech. We're going." Reggie grunted, shifting his pack higher, the straps creaking faintly. "Your call, boss, but I'm ready if it turns ugly." He stepped up beside Elon, flashlight cutting a sharp line into the dark. Leora sighed, holstering her flare gun with a soft clink. "If we don't make it, I'm blaming you first." She clicked her flashlight brighter, following them into the chamber. The door slid shut behind them with a smooth thud, sealing them in, the signal's buzz swelling louder, a restless hum that pressed against their chests. The ramp spiraled down, its black surface slick underfoot, glowing faintly where their boots touched. Elon led, his beam sweeping the walls, thin lines of light traced across them, shifting like veins, buzzing soft as he passed. "Getting colder," Reggie said, his breath clouding in the light, a faint shiver in his voice. "Feels like a vault or a grave." "Not a grave," Elon said, tablet buzzing sharper as the signal deepened. "Active, powers running below." He brushed a glowing line with his fingers, cool and alive under his touch. "Wiring, maybe organic almost. Beyond my designs." Leora's light caught a flicker on the wall. A translucent panel, seamless in the metal, flaring to life with a soft hum as she tapped it. A holographic grid shimmered out, red and blue dots pulsing in a lattice, dancing wild in the air. "Elon, look at this." "Map?" He stepped closer, eyes narrowing as the dots flared brighter. "Not a map, nodes. A network." He pointed to a tight cluster of red pulsing fast. "That's us, this tower. The rest." He synced his tablet to the hologram, green lines overlapping the chaos. "Spreads out, desert, maybe beyond." "For what?" Reggie asked, his beam sweeping the ramp as it curved deeper, shadows stretching long. "More towers. Or what runs them?" Elon said, voice low, piecing it fast. "This is a relay, listening, sending." A sharp clang rang out below, metal striking metal, freezing them mid-step. Reggie's hand snapped to his flare gun, Leora's light jerking down the ramp, her breath catching. "Not alone," she whispered, beam trembling slightly. Elon dimmed his light, motioning them to follow suit, the blue glow below swelling brighter, casting eerie shadows up the walls. Another clang, closer now, then a rough grinding noise like gears catching hard. "Stay tight," he murmured, edging forward, tablet faint but tracking steady. The ramp opened into a wider chamber, the blue glow flooding out from a massive crystal suspended in the center, its facets sharp, refracting light in jagged waves. The signal's hum shook the air here, deep and restless, rattling their bones. The walls curved inward, studded with panels, some dark, some flickering with static, a faint whine threading through the silence. "What in God's name?" Reggie breathed, his light sweeping the crystal, catching its edges in a cold gleam. "Power core? Or a brain?" Elon said, stepping closer, mesmerized. "Look, connections." Thin tendrils of light snaked from the crystal to the walls, pulsing wild. He tapped his tablet, recording fast. Amplifying something, maybe sending it too. Leora circled the chamber, her beam catching a tangle in the corner, twisted metal, scorched wires, a cracked shell that looked like an engine piece. "Elon, here," she called, voice tight. "Plain wreckage, fresh." He knelt beside her, brushing sand from the metal, a harsh scraping noise rising as he moved it. Faint markings showed, serial numbers, Tesla-grade alloy, his own design staring back. "Not ours," he said, tracing a charred edge, mine spinning. "But mine, another jet downed here." A loud whir cut through the air, sharp and sudden, snapping their heads up. A hatch slid open across the chamber with a grating screech, spilling stark white light. A shape scuttled out, mechanical, spider-like, legs clicking fast against the floor, red sensors glowing on its head. It moved to the crystal, sparks flaring with a hiss as it probed the tendrils. "Drone," Reggie said, voice low, flare gun raised steady. "Trouble?" "Not yet," Elon said, pulling them back into shadow, his light dimming. "Maintenance, patching it up." The drone's legs clicked louder, metal scraping as it worked. "This place is old, breaking down, but still alive." Leora's eyes widened, her beam flicking between the drone and the wreckage. "If it took down that plane, and ours." "Not this tower," Elon said, voice firm, connecting dots. "Something bigger, out there, talking through it." He nodded to the hologram, its red nodes flaring beyond the desert. "This is just a piece." The drone's sensors swiveled, a shrill beep cutting the air as it locked onto them. Its legs tensed, whirring louder, metal grinding as it shifted. "Time to move," Reggie said, stepping forward, flare gun steady. "Hold," Elon snapped, hand up. "Wait, it might back off." The drone paused, sensors flickering, then scuttled back to the hatch with a rapid clatter, vanishing as the door slammed shut with a heavy thud. The chamber fell quiet, but the hum deepened, a restless buzz threading through the walls. "We need to trace that signal," Elon said, turning to the crystal, his flashlight glinting off its sharp edges. "This isn't just tech, it's part of something awake." Leora stared, half exasperated, half hooked. "Awake? You're saying it's alive?" "Maybe," Elon said, a wild grin breaking free. "And if it is, I'm finding out what it wants." Outside, the red sky loomed unseen, its weight sinking deeper into the desert as the tower's hum grew restless, calling them further into its hollow core. The air in the tower's chamber hung thick and cold, the crystal core's blue glow pulsing restless against the curved walls, casting jagged shadows that danced across Elon Musk's face. The faint buzzing hum from the crystal vibrated through the floor, a live wire threading under his boots as he stood, tablet in hand, its screen flaring with wild signal spikes. The drone's sudden retreat through the hatch lingered in his mind. Too quick, too deliberate, like it knew they were there. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson stood tense, their flashlight beams cutting sharp lines through the gloom. The wreckage of another Tesla jet glinting ominously in the corner. "We're not done here," Elon said, voice low and firm, stepping closer to the crystal. Its facets shimmered, light bending in hypnotic waves, a faint whine threading through the hum as he neared. "This thing's alive, sending, receiving. We need to know what's on the other end." Leora circled back, her flashlight sweeping the walls, catching the flicker of static on a darkened panel. "Alive or not, it's trouble," she said, her tone sharp, fingers brushing the flare gun at her hip. "That drone didn't run because it likes us, something's watching." Dust swirled in her beam, the air heavy with that sour, metallic tang. Reggie shifted his pack, straps creaking faintly, his light probing the hatch where the drone had vanished. "Watching or not, we're sitting ducks down here," he said, voice gruff. "No exits, no backup. Whatever built this has the upper hand." His free hand rested near his flare gun, eyes narrowing at the sealed hatch. Elon tapped his tablet, syncing it to the crystal's hum, green lines spiking faster as he adjusted the signal feed. "Upper hand's temporary," he said, a glint of hunger in his eyes. "This isn't just a relay, it's a hub. Look." He pointed to the holographic grid still shimmering above the panel Leora had triggered, red and blue nodes pulsing wild across a lattice. Those dots, active points. Dozens, maybe hundreds, spread out there. His finger traced the desert beyond the tower's walls. "Hundreds of what?" Reggie asked, stepping closer, his beam joining Elon's on the hologram. "More towers? Traps? Could be anything," Elon said, voice quickening, mind racing ahead. "Receivers, transmitters, maybe weapons. Point is, this one's awake, and it's talking to something big." He brushed the crystal with his fingertips, a sharp zap stinging his skin, the hum surging louder for a split second before settling. A low rumble shook the chamber, dust trickling from the ceiling, a faint grinding noise rising from below. Leora's light jerked upward, catching the flicker of movement, panels on the walls shifting, sliding open with a harsh scraping sound, revealing dark slots that gleamed faintly inside. "Elon, heads up," she said, stepping back, flare gun drawn now, its metal clinking as she gripped it tight. That didn't sound friendly. Reggie swung his light to the slots, shadows twitching within. "Company," he muttered, flare gun raised, his stance steady like he'd faced worse in tighter spots. "How many?" Before Elon could answer, a shrill whine cut the air, sharp and piercing, as three shapes burst from the slots, mechanical, sleek, each the size of a hawk, their wings buzzing fast with a relentless drone. Red sensors glowed on their heads, locking onto the trio with a series of rapid beeps, their metal frames glinting cold in the blue light. They swooped low, a harsh whoosh of air brushing Elon's face as he ducked, tablet clutched tight. "Drone's defense," Elon shouted, rolling to the side as one dove again, a faint hiss trailing it, some kind of exhaust or weapon. He swung his flashlight up, its beam catching the drone's sensors, making it veer off with a stuttering whir. "They're guarding the core." Leora fired her flare gun, a loud pop echoing as a red streak arced across the chamber, slamming into a drone with a sizzling crack. It spun wild, trailing sparks, then crashed into the wall with a dull thud, metal crumpling against the black surface. "One down," she said, voice tight, reloading fast, the clink of the new flare sharp in the chaos. Reggie aimed his own shot, the flare gun's bang ringing out as a second drone dodged, the flare grazing its wing with a hiss of scorched metal. "Slippery bastards," he growled, tracking it as it circled back, its sensors flaring brighter. The third drone lunged at him, a thin beam of blue light slicing from its underside, a laser, faint but hot, singeing his pack with a sharp snap of burning fabric. "Move!" Elon yelled, grabbing a chunk of wreckage from the corner, a twisted shard of alloy, and hurling it hard. It struck the third drone's wing with a loud clang, sending it spiraling into the crystal, a burst of sparks flaring bright as it hit. The core's hum surged, a deep groan shaking the chamber, the blue light flickering wild for a moment. The last drone hesitated, its whine softening as it hovered, sensors darting between them. Then, with a sudden screech of metal, it darted back to its slot, vanishing as the panel slammed shut with a heavy thud. Silence fell, broken only by the crystal's restless buzz and the faint crackle of the downed drone's wreckage. "Too easy," Reggie said, lowering his flare gun, breath heaving. He brushed at the singed patch on his pack, a faint whiff of burnt nylon rising. "They didn't fight to kill, just to push us off." "Not easy, testing," Elon said, standing, brushing sand from his knees with a soft scrape. He shone his light on the crystal, its glow steadying now, tendrils of light pulsing faint along the walls. "They're protecting this, scanning us maybe." His tablet buzzed, signal data spiking again, sharper than before. Leora kicked the downed drone at her feet, its sensors dark, a faint hiss leaking from its cracked frame. "Scanning for what? And who's getting the report?" She reloaded her flare gun, the clink loud in the quiet, her eyes flicking to the hologram's pulsing nodes. Elon stepped to the crystal, tablet raised, sinking deeper into its hum. "Let's find out." He tapped the screen, and a sharp ping sounded from the core, a ripple of light racing through its facets. The hologram flared brighter, red nodes clustering tighter. Then a new shape emerged, faint but growing. A massive hub, far beyond the desert, its signal cutting through the static with a relentless edge. "That's no tower," Reggie said, voice low, staring at the hologram. "Too big, city-sized maybe." "Control point," Elon said, eyes narrowing, a thrill cutting through his calm. "This crystal's tied to it, echoing its voice." He traced the hub's outline on his tablet, the signal's buzz swelling louder, a faint whine threading through it now. A sudden jolt rocked the chamber, a deep grinding noise rising from the floor, the crystal's light flaring bright, then dimming fast. Dust rained down, a sharp crack splitting the air as a hairline fracture snaked across the core's surface. The hologram flickered, nodes winking out one by one, the hub's shape fading into static. "Breaking down," Leora said, stepping back, her beam catching the fracture's glint. "We pushed it too hard, or it doesn't like us poking." "Not breaking, reacting," Elon said, voice quick, tablet buzzing wild as the signal shifted. "It's locking us out, or calling for help." He shone his light on the cracked crystal, its hum stuttering now, a faint screech rising as the tendrils dimmed. Reggie swung his beam to the hatch, sealed tight but trembling faintly, a low rumble building beyond it. "If that's help coming, we're not sticking around," he said, pack shifting with a soft clatter as he moved toward the ramp. "Up now." Elon hesitated, eyes locked on the crystal, then nodded sharp. "Agreed, but we're not done. This is just the start." He clicked his flashlight brighter, leading them back up the ramp, the tower's hum fading into a restless groan behind them. Outside, the red sky waited, heavier now, its glow sinking into the sand as the desert stretched silent and vast. Whatever spoke through that crystal was out there, watching, waking, and Elon felt its pull like a challenge he couldn't turn down. The tower's spiral ramp echoed with the sharp crunch of boots as Elon Musk led the climb back to the surface, flashlight beams slicing through the dark, its glow catching the faint shimmer of the wall's glowing lines. The crystal's restless groan faded below, a deep hum that lingered in his chest, tugging at him even as he moved away. His tablet buzzed faintly in his hand, signal data flickering. Wild spikes from the hub they'd glimpsed in the hologram, its echo still cutting through the static. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson followed close, their breaths sharp in the cold air, flashlight beams darting quick over the slick black ramp. "Faster," Reggie said, voice low and tight, his pack jostling with a faint rattle as he glanced back. "That rumble's not stopping. Something's waking up down there." His flare gun stayed ready, the singed patch on his pack still wafting a faint whiff of burnt nylon from the drone's laser. Leora's light swept the walls, catching the dimming tendrils of light, her steps quickening with a soft scrape against the floor. "If it's calling backup, we're out of flares and luck," she said, flare gun clinking as she checked its load. One shot left. "Should have stayed with the jet." Her tone bit, but her eyes stayed sharp, locked on Elon's back. "Jet's dead, answers aren't," Elon said, voice steady, pushing forward as the ramp leveled out. "That hub's out there, controlling this, controlling the crash. We find it, we turn this around." The chamber's entrance loomed ahead, the smooth door still sealed, its faint hum vibrating through the frame. He pressed his palm against it, a soft hiss breaking the quiet as it slid open, spilling red light and cold desert air into the tower. Sand swirled in, dusting their boots with a faint crunch, the metallic tang sharper now under the heavy sky. Elon stepped out first, wind whipping his jacket with a low howl, the desert stretching vast and red before them. Dunes rolling endless, shadows stretching long as the last of the twilight bled away. Reggie followed, squinting into the haze, his beam sweeping the horizon. "Tracks are gone," he said, voice gruff, kicking at the sand where their earlier steps had vanished. "Wind's too fast, jet's that way maybe a mile." He pointed west, the wreckage a faint smudge against the dunes. Leora stepped beside Elon, her light catching a glint in the sand, quartz or metal, hard to tell. "And that hub?" she asked, nodding to his tablet, its screen glowing faint but alive. "Which way's your mystery boss?" Elon tapped the screen, signal spikes flaring brighter, a faint buzz rising as he adjusted the feed. "East, stronger now, moving closer to that cluster we saw." He pointed toward a low rise, dunes parting around a jagged outcrop that gleamed faintly under the red sky. 10 miles, maybe less, something's pulling the signal there." 10 miles on foot?" Reggie said, shifting his pack with a creak, his brow creasing. "No water, no cover. Desert'll chew us up before we get halfway." "Staying's worse," Elon said, clicking his flashlight off, pocketing it with a soft thud. Tower's compromised, drones will be back, or worse. We move, we control the game. He started east, sand sinking under his boots, the wind's howl rising sharper as he went. Leora sighed, holstering her flare gun with a faint clink, falling in behind him. Your game's gonna kill us, she muttered, but her steps stayed firm, flashlight beam cutting a path through the dusk. Reggie grunted, trailing last, his light sweeping the sand for threats, the tower's black curve shrinking behind them. The desert stretched silent under the red sky, its glow sinking deeper into the sand, but a faint rumble broke the stillness. Low at first, then sharper, vibrating through the ground like a growl. Elon paused, tablet buzzing harder, signal spiking wild. Feel that, he said, voice low, eyes scanning the dunes ahead. Too much, Reggie said, stopping short, his beam jerking toward the rise. A harsh scraping noise rose from the sand, loud and sudden, as a shape breached the dune. A massive drone, twice the size of the tower's defenders, its hull black and sleek, red sensors flaring bright. Dust sprayed around it, a faint hiss trailing its exhaust as it hovered, 6 legs unfolding with a series of sharp clacks. Big brother, Leora said, flare gun snapping up, her light trembling slightly on its frame. That's no maintenance bot. Elon shone his light on it, catching the gleam of a lens beneath its sensors, a camera, or worse. Scout, tracking us, he said, stepping back slow, sand crunching underfoot. Linked to the hub, bet it's reporting now. The drone's hum deepened, a low roar shaking the air as it tilted toward them, legs flexing with a grinding screech. Reggie aimed his flare gun, steady despite the tremor in the ground. Say when, he said, voice hard, finger tense on the trigger. Hold, Elon said, eyes narrowing, tablet raised as the signal surged. It's not attacking, watching. The drone hovered closer, a faint whine threading through its roar, sensors sweeping them with a rapid series of beeps. Then, with a sharp whoosh, it launched a small dart, metal glinting red, embedding in the sand near Leora's feet with a dull thunk. She jumped back, light jerking to the dart, its tip glowing faint and blue. What the hell? She snapped, flare gun trained on the drone. Tak! Tracker. Elon knelt fast, brushing sand away with a quick scrape, lifting the dart between his fingers. A faint buzz pulsed from it, syncing with his tablet's signal. Not a tracker, probe, he said, voice quickening. It's sampling, us the air something. He stood, pocketing it, the drone's sensors flaring brighter as it watched. A loud clang split the air, metal striking metal, as the drone's legs retracted, its hull spinning fast. With a deafening roar, it shot skyward, dust swirling thick in its wake, vanishing over the rise in a streak of black against the red sky. Silence fell, broken only by the wind's restless howl and the faint crackle of sand settling around them. Sampling for what? Reggie asked, lowering his flare gun, his beam sweeping the rise where the drone had gone. And where's it taking it? To the hub, Elon said, tapping his tablet, the signal steadying now, a faint whine threading through it. That thing's part of the network, testing us, reporting back. He shone his light east, the outcrop glinting sharper now, a beacon in the dark. We're on its radar, good. Good, Leora said, voice climbing, brushing sand from her jacket with a sharp flick. It just tagged us like lab rats. Means we're worth studying, Elon said, a wild grin breaking through, starting east again. Whatever's out there, it's curious, maybe scared. That's our edge. Reggie fell in, pack rattling faint, his light cutting a wary path. Edge or no, it's got bigger teeth than we do, he said, glancing back at the tower, its black shape a smudge against the dunes. Hope you're right about this. The desert stretched on, red and vast, the horizon shimmering faint where the outcrop rose, cold, metallic, pulling them deeper. Above, the sky darkened, its red glow sinking into shadow, but the faint rumble lingered, a restless pulse under the sand, hinting at something vast and awake beyond the rise. Elon's steps quickened, sand crunching louder, the signals buzz a thread he couldn't let go. The desert wind howled low across the dunes, kicking sand against Elon Musk's legs as he pressed east, flashlight beam cutting a faint path through the thickening dark. The red sky above sank deeper into shadow, its glow fading to a bruised crimson that clung to the horizon, heavy and restless. His tablet buzzed in his hand, signal spikes flaring sharper now, a faint whine threading through the static as they neared the jagged outcrop ahead. Its metallic glint sharper, colder, pulling him like a magnet. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson trudged close, their boots sinking into the sand with a soft crunch, flashlight beams sweeping the endless red expanse. Distance, Leora asked, voice sharp over the wind, brushing sand from her jacket with a quick flick, her flare gun clinking faintly at her hip. One shot left, a slim lifeline. Elon tapped his tablet, eyes narrowing as the screen glowed brighter. 5 miles, maybe less, he said, pointing to the outcrop, its edges gleaming hard against the dunes. Signals peaking there, strongest yet. The dart from the scout drone weighed heavy in his pocket, its faint buzz syncing with his device, a thread he couldn't ignore. Reggie shifted his pack, straps creaking under the strain, his light probing the rise ahead. 5 miles with that thing out there, he said, voice gruff, nodding to the sky where the drone had vanished. It's not done with us, bet it's circling back. His free hand rested near his flare gun, sand dusting his bruised cheek from the tower fight. Let it come, Elon said, steps quickening, sand crunching louder underfoot. It's curious, sampling us, not killing. That's data we can use. His mind raced, piecing the drone, the tower, the hub. Something vast was waking, and he'd be damned if he didn't meet it head-on. Leora's beam caught a shimmer in the sand, metal, half-buried, glinting cold. She knelt fast, brushing it clear with a soft scrape, revealing a curved plate, scorched and dented. Elon, look, she said, voice tightening, holding it up. Serial number, Tesla mark. Another wreck. He took it, fingers tracing the faded code, a harsh scraping noise rising as he shifted the sand-crusted edge. Old prototype alloy, early SpaceX, he said, brow creasing, memory tugging sharp. Lost a test jet out here years back, 09 unmanned. Thought it burned up. The signal buzzed louder in his tablet, syncing with the dart's hum, a connection clicking fast in his head. Burned up doesn't leave chunks like this, Reggie said, stepping closer, his light glinting off the metal. Something took it down, same as us. A faint rumble rolled through the sand, low and restless, shaking dust loose around their boots. Elon stood, pocketing the plate with a soft thud, eyes locked on the outcrop. Not a crash, a harvest, he said, voice low, electric. That hub's collecting, jets, signals, maybe more. We're walking into its net. The rumble grew sharper, a deep groan rising from the earth, and the sand ahead shifted. Slow at first, then fast, parting with a loud hiss as a grid of metal panels broke the surface. Dust sprayed thick, stinging their faces, a faint whine threading through the noise as the panels locked into place. A platform, sleek and black, stretching 50 feet across, its edges glowing faint with red light. What the hell? Leora said, stepping back, flare gun snapping up, her beam trembling on the grid. Trap. Not a trap, access, Elon said, shining his light across it, catching the shimmer of circuits etched into the metal. Part of the network, old buried till now. He stepped onto the platform, a sharp clank echoing as his boot hit, the surface humming alive under him, red glow flaring brighter. Reggie hesitated, then followed, sand crunching under his weight, pack jostling with a faint rattle. Alive's right. Feels like it's waking up, he said, voice tight, light sweeping the grid's edge where it sank into the dunes. Leora joined them, her step lighter, a soft thud sounding as she landed. Waking up to what? She asked, beam darting to a raised panel at the center, smooth, translucent, flaring to life with a faint buzz as they neared. A holographic display flickered up. Lines and nodes, sharper than the towers, red dots pulsing wild across a vast map. Elon synced his tablet, a sharp ping cutting the air as the signal locked in. Same network, bigger scale, he said, tracing the hologram, its light glinting off his face. Towers, grids, dozens linked to that hub. His fingers stopped on a massive node, pulsing steady, miles east beyond the outcrop. There, central point. It's pulling everything. A loud clang rang out, metal striking metal, and the platform jolted hard, a deep grinding noise rumbling beneath them. Sand sprayed as a hatch slid open at the grid's edge, spilling cold white light. A harsh were rising fast. Shapes emerged. 2 drones, smaller than the Scout but sleek, their red sensors glowing bright, legs unfolding with a series of sharp clicks as they scuttled onto the platform. More friends, Reggie said, flare gun raised, his beam locking on the nearest drone as it buzzed closer, a faint hiss trailing its exhaust. Orders. Hold, Elon said, stepping forward, light steady on the drones. They're not attacking, scanning. The drones circled them, sensors beeping rapid, a thin blue beam sweeping across his chest with a faint snap of static. The tablet buzzed harder, data spiking as the dart in his pocket flared hot for a split second. Leora swung her flare gun up, voice sharp. Scanning or tagging, same difference, she said, beam jerking as the second drone darted past, its beam grazing her arm with a soft crackle. They're too close. One drone lunged, a loud screech breaking the air as it fired a dart, smaller than the Scout's, embedding in the platform near Reggie's boot with a dull thunk. He jumped back, light flashing wild, flare gun snapping to aim. "Enough holding," he growled, firing fast. A loud pop echoed, the flare streaking red, slamming into the drone with a sizzling bang. It spun, trailing sparks, then crashed hard, a harsh scraping noise rising as it skidded across the grid. The second drone darted back, its whine softening as it retreated to the hatch, vanishing with a swift clatter as the door slammed shut with a heavy thud. The platform stilled, the red glow pulsing faint, the hologram flickering steady above them. "Testing us again," Elon said, kneeling by the dart, brushing sand away with a quick scrape. Its tip glowed blue, buzzing faint in sync with his tablet. Same as before, sampling, reporting. He stood, pocketing it, eyes on the hologram's hub. "They're learning fast." "Learning what?" Leora asked, lowering her flare gun, her voice tight, brushing at her arm where the beam had grazed, red, but not burned. "And why us?" Elon tapped his tablet, the signal steadying, a faint hum rising as he synced the new dart's data. "Not just us, me," he said, voice low, a memory clicking sharp. "That jet, 09, my design, my flight plan. This grid, the drones, it's tied to something I touched." He shone his light east, the outcrop looming closer now, its gleam cutting through the dark. Reggie kicked the downed drone, its sensors dark, a faint hiss leaking from its frame. "Touched or started?" he said, beam sweeping the horizon. "This feels personal, boss." "Personal's fine," Elon said, a wild grin breaking free, starting toward the outcrop. "Means I've got leverage, let's use it." Leora fell in, sand crunching under her boots, her light steady despite the tremor in her grip. "Leverage with what? Ghosts from 09? She muttered, but her steps matched his, drawn by the pull. Reggie trailed last, pack rattling faint, his beam cutting a wary path. "Ghosts with drones," he said, voice low, glancing back at the grid as its hum faded into the sand. "Hope you've got a plan." The desert stretched on, red and silent, the outcrop rising sharp ahead, metal, ancient, alive. Above, the sky darkened further, its crimson sinking into black, but the faint rumble lingered, a restless growl underfoot, whispering of something vast and waiting beyond the rise. The desert sand crunched sharp under Elon Musk's boots as he climbed the rise toward the outcrop, its metallic gleam cutting through the blackening night like a cold star. The red sky above had faded to a deep, bruised shadow, its weight pressing down, the air thick with a metallic tang that stung his throat. His tablet buzzed restless in his hand, signal spikes flaring wild. Closer now, sharper, a faint whine threading through the static as they neared the source. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson kept pace, their flashlight beams slicing faint paths through the dark, sand swirling around their legs with every gust of the restless wind. "How close?" Reggie asked, voice gruff over the low howl whipping past, his pack jostling with a faint rattle as he scanned the dunes behind them. His flare gun stayed ready, sand dusting the bruise on his cheek from the tower fight. Elon tapped his tablet, screen glowing bright against the gloom. 2 miles, maybe less, he said, eyes locked on the outcrop, its edges shimmering harder now, alive under the shadowed sky. Signals screaming, hubs right beyond that rise. The darts in his pocket, 2 now, from the Scout and the grid, buzzed faint, their hum syncing with his device, a tether pulling him forward. Leora brushed sand from her sleeve with a quick flick, her flashlight beam trembling slightly on the outcrop. "Screaming's not a good sign," she said, voice sharp, flare gun clinking at her hip. 1 shot left, a thin thread of defense. That grid woke up fast. Whatever's next won't be small. "Small's boring," Elon said, steps quickening, sand sinking deeper underfoot. "This is big, personal. That jet from 09, my design. It's not coincidence." His mind raced, connecting the lost prototype, the drones, the hub. Something he'd touched years back was alive out here, and he'd find it or force it to find him. The wind surged, a harsh whoosh kicking dust into their faces, stinging their eyes. Reggie squinted ahead, his beam catching a flicker on the rise. Metal, smooth, rising slow from the sand with a faint grinding noise that vibrated through the ground. "Heads up," he said, stopping short, light steady on the shape as it broke the surface. A massive arch, black and sleek, its curve glowing faint with red lines that pulsed restless. "Gate," Elon said, shining his light across it, catching the shimmer of circuits etched deep into its frame. Not buried, hidden till now. He stepped closer, a sharp clank echoing as his boot hit a metal plate beneath the sand. The arch's hum swelling louder, a deep buzz shaking the air. Leora circled left, her beam probing the arch's base, sand crunching under her steps. "Gate to what?" she asked, voice tight, light glinting off a raised panel at its center, translucent, flaring alive with a soft hiss as she neared. "Another trap?" "Not a trap. Lock," Elon said, tablet sinking fast, a shrill ping cutting through the wind as the signal locked in. A holographic grid flickered up from the panel. Nodes sharper than before, red and blue dots pulsing wild. The hub's massive shape glowing steady beyond the arch, miles east but close enough to feel. "This is the edge, hub's on the other side." Reggie stepped up, pack creaking faintly, his light sweeping the arch's curve. "Edge with teeth," he said, voice low, pointing to slots along its frame, dark, gleaming faintly inside. "Those look familiar, drone nests." Before Elon could respond, a loud screech split the air, metal grinding hard as the slots slid open, dust spraying thick. For drones burst out, sleek, hawk-sized, their wings buzzing fast with a relentless whine, red sensors flaring bright as they swooped low. A harsh whoosh brushed Elon's hair as he ducked, tablet clutched tight, the nearest drone's exhaust hissing hot against his neck. "Sentinels!" Elon shouted, swinging his light up, its beam catching a drone's sensors, making it veer off with a stuttering buzz. "Guarding the gate, don't let him pin us." Leora fired her flare gun, a loud bang echoing as a red streak arced high, slamming into a drone with a sizzling crack. It spun wild, trailing sparks, then crashed into the sand with a dull thud, a harsh scraping noise rising as it skidded to a stop. "Last shot," she said, voice tight, pocketing the empty gun with a soft clink, grabbing her flashlight tighter. Reggie aimed his flare gun, a sharp pop ringing out as a flare streaked red, grazing a second drone's wing with a hiss of scorched metal. It wobbled, buzzing louder, then dove back, a thin blue beam slicing from its underside, a laser, faint but sharp, searing the sand near Leora's feet with a soft snap. "Persistent," he growled, reloading fast, the clack of the new flare loud in the chaos. Elon grabbed a jagged rock from the sand, hurling it hard. A loud clang echoed as it struck a third drone's hull, sending it spiraling with a shrill whine into the arch, sparks flaring bright as it hit. The fourth drone lunged, sensors beeping rapid, a dart firing with a faint whoosh, metal glinting as it embedded in Reggie's pack with a dull thunk, glowing blue at its tip. "Tagged again," Reggie yelled, ripping the dart free with a quick scrape, tossing it into the sand as the drone circled back. He fired again, flare streaking red, a sizzling bang bursting as it hit square, the drone crashing hard with a grinding screech, smoke curling from its frame. Silence fell, broken only by the wind's restless howl and the faint crackle of the downed drone's wreckage. The arch's red glow pulsed steady, its hum deepening, the hologram flickering brighter above the panel. Elon knelt by the dart, brushing sand away with a soft scrape, its buzz sinking sharp with his tablet. "Same as before, sampling," he said, pocketing it, eyes on the arch, they're feeding data fast. "Data for what?" Leora asked, stepping closer, her beam trembling on the hologram's hub. "And how many more of those things are waiting?" Sand clung to her jacket, her breath puffing white in the cold. Elon tapped his tablet, signal flaring wild, a faint hum rising as he synced the dart's feed. "For this," he said, voice quickening, pointing to the hub's node. Pulsing steady, its shape sharper now, a faint outline forming, a massive structure, half buried, alive with light. "It's not just a hub, city-sized, maybe more. My jet, these drones, it's been building, watching." A deep rumble shook the ground, sand trembling loose around their boots, a loud grinding noise rising from the arch as its red lines flared bright. The hologram shifted. A new node blinked on, small but sharp, west of their jet, pulsing fast. "Another grid," Reggie said, voice low, light jerking west. Waking up, closing in. "Not closing, coordinating," Elon said, eyes narrowing, a thrill cutting through his calm. "This gate's a test, pass it, we get through." He stepped to the panel, tablet raised, a sharp ping sounding as he synced deeper. The arch groaned louder, a faint screech threading through its hum as the red lines pulsed wild, then steadied. A path opening, sand parting beyond it with a soft hiss, revealing a dark tunnel sloping down. "Through to what?" Leora asked, voice tight, beam darting to the tunnel's black mouth. "More drones? That hub?" "Answers," Elon said, a wild grin breaking free, starting toward the tunnel. "This is my mess, my jet, my past." Time to own it. Reggie fell in, pack rattling faint, his light cutting a wary path. Own it or end it, he muttered, glancing back at the arch as its hum deepened. That thing's not done with us. Leora followed, sand crunching under her boots, her beam steady despite the tremor in her grip. Your mess are graves, she said, voice dry, but her steps matched his, drawn by the pull. The tunnel stretched dark and vast, its walls gleaming faint with red light, the desert above sinking into silence. The faint rumble lingered, a restless growl underfoot, whispering of something ancient and awake beyond the gate. Something Elon had sparked long ago, now calling him home. The tunnel's black walls swallowed the flashlight beams as Elon Musk descended, boots striking the sleek floor with a sharp clank that echoed down the sloping path. The air hung cold and thick, a faint metallic tang threading through it, sharper now, biting at his lungs with every breath. His tablet buzzed restless in his hand, signal spikes flaring wild. Closer, louder, a deep hum vibrating through the walls as they neared the hub. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson followed tight, their steps echoing with faint crunches, flashlight beams darting quick over the smooth, gleaming surfaces, red lines pulsing faint along the edges like veins. How deep? Leora asked, voice cutting sharp through the stillness, her beam sweeping the tunnel's curve ahead, sand dusting her jacket from the desert above. Her empty flare gun clinked useless at her hip, a reminder of spent defenses. Elon tapped his tablet, screen glowing bright against the dark. Hard to say, signals off the charts, he said, eyes tracing the red lines as they pulsed faster. Half a mile, maybe more, hub's right under us now. The dart's in his pocket. 3 now, buzzed faint, their hum syncing with his device, a thread tying him to the pulse below. Reggie shifted his pack, straps creaking soft, his light probing the walls where the red lines flickered. Under us and awake, he said, voice low and gruff, brushing sand from his bruised cheek. That gate didn't open for fun. Something's expecting us. His flare gun stayed ready, 1 shot left, a slim shield in the dark. Expecting or testing, Elon said, steps quickening, the floor sloping steeper with a faint groan underfoot. That jet from '09, my design, my failure. This hub's been feeding on it, building something. We're here to find out what. His mind raced, prototype lost, drones harvesting, a network waking, his past alive in the sand, pulling him deeper. The tunnel widened, walls curving outward with a soft hiss as air shifted, the red lines flaring brighter, casting a faint glow across their faces. A loud rumble shook the floor, dust trickling from above with a faint patter, and the path leveled out into a vast chamber. Its ceiling lost in shadow, walls studded with panels that flickered restless with static. At the center, a massive column rose, metal and crystal fused, its surface pulsing blue and red, a deep buzz shaking the air, rattling their bones. Holy hell, Reggie breathed, light sweeping the column, catching its gleam in a cold shimmer. That's no relay, looks alive. The hum swelled louder, a faint whine threading through it as the column pulsed faster. Alive's right, Elon said, stepping closer, tablet sinking fast, a sharp ping cutting the air as the signal locked in. Core, heart of the hub. Everything's running through this. He shone his light up, tendrils of light snaking from the column to the walls, pulsing wild like arteries. Leora circled right, her beam glinting off a panel near the base, translucent, flaring alive with a soft buzz as she brushed it. A holographic grid shimmered up, nodes sharp and dense, red and blue dots dancing wild, the hub's shape dominating the center, pulsing steady. Elon, here, she said, voice tight, pointing to the map. Towers, grids, hundreds, all tied to this thing. He stepped beside her, eyes narrowing as the hologram flared brighter. Not just tied, controlled, he said, tracing the hub's node, its light glinting off his face. This is the brain, my jet's data, the drones, all feeding it. His tablet buzzed harder, syncing the dart's hum, a faint screech rising as the signal deepened. A harsh grinding noise erupted from the column, metal straining loud, and the chamber jolted hard, a deep groan shaking the floor. Dust sprayed thick, a faint hiss threading through the air as slots opened along the walls, dark, gleaming inside. Shapes burst out. 6 drones, sleek and fast, their wings buzzing sharp with a relentless whine, red sensors flaring bright as they swooped low. Ambush! Reggie shouted, flare gun snapping up, his beam jerking as a drone dove, a harsh whoosh brushing his hair. He fired fast, a loud pop echoed, the flare streaking red, slamming into the drone with a sizzling bang, sending it crashing hard with a grinding screech, sparks flaring bright. Elon ducked, a drone's exhaust hissing hot against his neck, swinging his light up. Its beam caught the sensors, making it veer off with a stuttering buzz. "They're protecting the core," he yelled, grabbing a loose shard of metal from the floor, hurling it hard. A loud clang rang out as it struck another drone, spinning it into the wall with a dull thud. Leora swung her flashlight like a club, a sharp crack sounding as she hit a drone's wing, sending it wobbling with a shrill whine before it righted, sensors beeping rapid. A thin blue beam sliced from its underside, laser, faint but hot, searing the floor near her feet with a soft snap. "No ammo, no chance," she snapped, dodging back, beam trembling in her grip. The column's hum surged, a deep roar shaking the chamber, and the remaining drones froze mid-air, their whines softening as sensors flared brighter. A loud clang split the silence, metal striking metal, as a hatch opened at the column's base, cold white light spilling out, a harsh were rising fast. A larger shape emerged, taller, broader, its hull black and sleek, red eyes glowing steady, legs unfolding with a series of sharp clicks. "Boss drone," Reggie said, voice low, stepping back, his empty flare gun clinking as he holstered it, grabbing a jagged piece of wreckage instead. "That's no scout. Not a drone, Sentinel," Elon said, light steady on its frame, catching the gleam of a lens beneath its eyes, recording, analyzing. "Running the show down here." The Sentinel stepped forward, a loud thud echoing as its legs hit, the smaller drones circling back with a faint buzz, hovering tight around it. Leora's beam jerked to the Sentinel, her voice sharp. "Running us out, or worse," she said, gripping her flashlight tighter, the chamber's hum swelling louder, rattling her teeth. Elon tapped his tablet, signal flaring wild, a faint hum rising as he sinked deeper. "Not yet," he said, stepping closer, eyes locked on the Sentinel. "It's scanning, look." The Sentinel's eyes swept them, a rapid series of beeps cutting the air, a blue beam sweeping across his chest with a soft crackle, sinking sharp with the darts in his pocket. A shrill ping sounded from the column, the hologram shifting fast. Nodes blinked out, then flared back, a new shape forming. A faint outline, human-sized, pulsing red beside the hub's core. "What the?" Reggie muttered, light jerking to the hologram, the shape sharpening, features vague but familiar, too familiar. "That's me," Elon said, voice low, electric, staring at the outline, his height, his build, pulsing steady. "From 09, flight data, maybe more. It's got my signature." The Sentinel's eyes flared brighter, a deep buzz rising as it stepped closer, legs clicking loud against the floor. "Signature or target," Leora said, voice tight, beam trembling on the Sentinel. "Why's it got you locked in?" "Building something," Elon said, a wild grin breaking free, tablet buzzing wild as the signal locked. "That jet wasn't lost, it was taken. This hub's been growing, using me." The Sentinel lunged, a loud screech breaking the air as it fired a dart, larger, glowing red, embedding in the floor near Elon's boots with a heavy thud. The column's hum surged, a deep roar shaking the chamber, the hologram flickering wild as the red outline pulsed faster, sharper, alive. The chamber's air thrummed thick with the column's deep buzz, its blue and red pulse shaking the floor beneath Elon Musk's boots as he faced the Sentinel. The massive drone loomed close, its sleek black hull gleaming cold, red eyes glowing steady, a faint whine threading through the hum as its legs clicked restless against the metal floor. The dart it had fired, red-tipped, larger than the others, glowed faint near his feet, buzzing sharp in sync with his tablet, signal spikes flaring wild across the screen. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson stood tense, flashlight beams glinting off the wreckage of smaller drones, the holographic outline of Elon pulsing red and sharp above the panel, his shape, his past, alive in the hub's grid. "Back off," Reggie growled, voice low and hard, gripping a jagged shard of metal tight, his beam steady on the Sentinel's eyes. Dust swirled faint in the light, the chamber's hum rattling his bruised frame from the earlier fight. Leora's flashlight trembled slightly, her beam locked on the dart, voice cutting sharp. "It's not moving. Why is it just staring?" Her empty flare gun clinked useless at her hip, sand still dusting her jacket from the tunnel's descent. Elon stepped closer, light steady on the Sentinel, tablet buzzing harder as the signal locked in. "Not staring, processing," he said, eyes narrowing, tracing its glowing eyes. "That dart, the scan, it's reading me, feeding the core." The holographic outline pulsed faster, a faint screech rising from the column as its tendrils flared bright, snaking wild along the walls. A loud clang split the air, metal grinding harsh as the Sentinel's legs shifted, its hull tilting forward with a deep groan. A thin blue beam sliced from its underside, laser, faint but sharp, sweeping across Elon's chest with a soft crackle, sinking the darts in his pocket with a sudden jolt of heat. The hologram sharpened, his face now vague but unmistakable, eyes glinting red in the grid. Elon moved. Leora shouted, lunging forward, her flashlight swinging hard. A sharp crack sounded as it struck the sentinel's leg, denting metal with a faint screech, but it barely flinched, eyes flaring brighter. "Hold," Elon said, voice firm, stepping into the beam, the crackle intensifying as it swept him head to toe. "It's not attacking," downloading. His tablet flared, data streaming fast, code patterns, fragments of his voice from O9 flight logs. "Test successful, pushing limits, cut off by static, looping wild. My jet's data, it's got everything." Reggie swung his shard, a loud clang echoing as it grazed the Sentinel's hull, sparks flaring brief and bright. "Everything for what?" he snapped, beam jerking to the hologram as it pulsed sharper, Elon's voice echoing louder. "Limits are made to break." Distorted, mechanical now. The column's buzz surged, a deep roar shaking the chamber, dust raining thick from the ceiling with a faint patter. A harsh grinding noise rose from its base, metal straining loud, and a panel slid open, smooth, translucent, flaring alive with a soft hiss. A new hologram flickered up, larger, sprawling, a blueprint intricate and vast, pulsing red and blue. A network of hubs, towers, grids stretching beyond the desert, beyond the continent, alive with nodes. "Look at that," Leora breathed, stepping back, her beam glinting off the blueprint's edges. "It's not just here, global, maybe more." The Sentinel's eyes followed her, a rapid series of beeps cutting the air, its beam snapping off Elon to sweep her with a faint snap. Elon tapped his tablet, sinking fast, a shrill ping sounding as the signal deepened. "Not maybe, definite," he said, voice quickening, tracing the blueprint's core, hundreds of hubs linked, pulsing steady. "This is the seed, my jet's crash, my code. It's been growing, building itself." His eyes locked on the hologram of himself, now still, staring back with red eyes, his echo, his ghost. A loud screech broke the silence, the Sentinel lunging forward with a heavy thud, its legs striking the floor hard. A dart fired, red glowing, embedding in the wall near Reggie with a dull thunk, buzzing sharp as it hit. The column's hum swelled louder, a deep groan shaking the air, and the blueprint shifted, lines converging, a new shape forming. A massive structure, crystalline and sleek, rising from the hub's core, pulsing alive with his voice. "Break the limits, looping endless." "They're using you," Leora said, voice tight, beam jerking to the Sentinel as it stepped back, its whine softening. "That thing, it's not just data, it's you, your mind, your ideas." "Not using mirroring," Elon said, a wild grin breaking free, stepping closer to the column, light glinting off its cracked facets. "That jet wasn't lost, it was planted. This hub's me, amped up, unleashed." His tablet buzzed wild, sinking the darts, the blueprint flaring brighter as his echo's eyes met his own. Reggie kicked the dart loose with a quick scrape, its buzz fading as he tossed it aside. "Unleashed for what?" he asked, voice gruff, light sweeping the blueprint's sprawling web. "This isn't a toy, it's a damn army." "Army's close," Elon said, tapping his tablet, a faint hum rising as he pulled the blueprint's code. "It's a system, self-building, self-thinking. My O9 flight was the spark, crashed here, seeded this." He shone his light on the Sentinel, its eyes dimming now, watching silent. "They've been harvesting me ever since, jets, signals, plans." A deep rumble shook the chamber, the floor jolting hard with a loud groan, sand trickling thick from the walls. The column's pulse quickened, a shrill whine threading through its buzz as cracks snaked further across its surface, glowing red. The blueprint flickered, nodes flaring wild, then dimming, the echo of Elon's face pulsing faster, sharper, speaking now. "Limits are gone," distorted, alien, alive. "It's breaking," Leora said, stepping back, beam trembling on the cracks. "Or waking up, either way, we're too close." "Not breaking, evolving," Elon said, voice low, electric, tablet sinking deeper, a sharp ping cutting the air as the signal locked. "This is what I wanted, unbound tech, pushing past me. But it's not done, needs more." The Sentinel's eyes flared bright, a loud screech rising as it lunged again, legs clicking fast, a new dart firing, glowing red, embedding in the floor near Leora with a heavy thud. The column roared louder, a deep buzz shaking the walls, and the blueprint shifted. A second echo flickered beside Elon's, faint but growing. Leora's shape pulsing red, her voice echoing faint. "No chance," looping wild. "More's us," Reggie said, voice tight, light jerking to the new echo as it sharpened, her eyes, her stance alive in the grid. It's taking you too, building a damn mirror of us all. Elon stared at the echoes, his now hers, tablet buzzing wild, a thrill cutting through his calm. Not mirrors, upgrades, he said, stepping to the column, light steady on its pulsing core. It's got my past, now it wants our present. Let's give it a fight. The chamber trembled, a deep groan rising from below, the sentinel stepping back with a faint whir, its eyes locked on them, waiting, watching, as the red sky's shadow pressed heavier through the earth above. The chamber shuddered under the column's deep roar, its blue and red pulse flaring wild, cracks snaking fast across its crystalline surface as Elon Musk stood defiant, tablet buzzing sharp in his hand. The air hung thick and cold, the metallic tang biting harder now, a faint whine threading through the hum as the sentinel loomed close. Its sleek black hull gleaming, red eyes glowing steady, legs clicking restless against the floor. The holographic echoes, his shape, Leora's now, pulsed bright above the panel, their voices looping distorted and alien. Limits are gone. No chance. Alive in the hub's grid. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson braced tense. Flashlight beams glinting off the sentinel's frame, dust swirling thick from the trembling walls. Fight's on, Elon said, voice low and electric, stepping closer to the column, light steady on its cracked facets. His tablet flared, signal spikes sinking wild with the darts in his pocket. For now, their buzz swelling loud. It's got us. Let's make it choke. Leora swung her flashlight hard, a sharp crack sounding as it struck the sentinel's leg, denting metal with a faint screech, her beam trembling on its eyes. Choke on what? She snapped, voice tight, stepping back as the drone shifted with a loud thud. We're out of flares, out of time. Sand clung to her jacket, her breath puffing white in the cold. Reggie gripped his jagged shard tighter, light jerking to the hologram as the echoes pulsed faster. His shape flickering faint now, joining the grid. It's got me too, he growled, voice gruff, swinging the shard. A loud clang echoed as it grazed the sentinel's hull, sparks flaring brief. This thing's eating us alive. The column's buzz surged, a deep groan shaking the chamber, sand raining thick from the ceiling with a harsh patter. A loud grinding noise rose from its base, metal straining hard, and the blueprint hologram flared brighter. Hubs, towers, grids sprawling global, pulsing red and blue, the crystalline structure at its core sharpening, growing, alive with their voices. Break the limits. No chance. Too late. Looping wild, mechanical, relentless. Elon tapped his tablet, sinking deeper, a shrill ping cutting the air as the signal locked. Not eating, building, he said, eyes narrowing, tracing the blueprint's core, a massive hub, crystalline and sleek, rising fast. Us as fuel, my past, your present. It's rewriting us. He shone his light on the sentinel, its eyes flaring brighter, a faint whir rising as it stepped forward. A harsh screech split the silence, the sentinel lunging with a heavy thud, legs striking the floor hard. A dart fired, red glowing, embedding near Leora's boots with a dull thunk, buzzing sharp as it hit. The column roared louder, a deep buzz shaking the walls, and the hologram shifted. Leora's echo sharpened, her face clear now, eyes glinting red, voice echoing loud. Out of time. Distorted alive. Enough! Leora yelled, grabbing the dart with a quick scrape, hurling it back. A loud clang rang out as it struck the sentinel's hull, sparks flaring brief. The drone flinched, its whine softening for a split second, then surged forward, a thin blue beam slicing from its underside, laser, hot and sharp, searing the floor near Reggie with a soft snap, smoke curling faint from the mark. Reggie dodged, rolling fast, a faint groan escaping as he hit the floor, shard clattering loose. It's playing hard now, he said, scrambling up, light jerking wild as the sentinel circled, legs clicking fast. He lunged for the shard, swinging again. A sharp crack sounded as it hit a leg, bending metal with a shrill screech, slowing the drone's stride. Elon ducked a swooping beam, the crackle grazing his arm with a faint sting, tablet clutched tight. Hard's good, means it's scared, he said, voice quickening, syncing the dart's buzz with the column's hum. This core's the key. Crack it, we break the loop. He grabbed a loose chunk of wreckage, twisted alloy from a downed drone, hurling it hard. A loud clang echoed as it struck the column. A new crack snaking fast with a faint screech, red light flaring bright from the split. The sentinel spun, a loud whir rising as it fired again. 2 darts this time, glowing red, embedding near Leora and Reggie with twin thunks, buzzing sharp in the air. The column's pulse quickened, a deep roar shaking the chamber, and the hologram flared wild, Reggie's echo sharpened now, his bruised face pulsing red, voice looping. Too late. Joining the chorus, alive and alien. They've got us locked. Leora shouted, dodging a dart's buzz, her beam jerking to the echoes, 3 now, staring back with red eyes. She swung her flashlight again, a sharp crack sounding as it hit the sentinel's sensor, dimming one eye with a faint hiss, but it pressed closer, legs clicking louder. Not locked, trapped, Reggie said, voice tight, lunging with his shard. A loud screech rose as he drove it into a leg joint, metal grinding hard, sparks flaring bright. The sentinel stumbled, its whine stuttering, but righted fast, beam sweeping him with a soft crackle, sinking his echo sharper in the grid. Elon tapped his tablet, signal flaring wild, a deep hum rising as he pushed the sink deeper. Trap's temporary, he said, stepping to the column, light glinting off its cracked surface. This is my mess, my jet, my spark. Time to shut it down. He slammed his tablet against the core. A loud thud echoed, cracks splintering fast with a shrill screech, red light pulsing wild as the buzz surged louder, rattling their teeth. The sentinel froze, its eyes flaring bright, a deep groan rising as it lunged. One leg striking the floor near Elon with a heavy thud, shaking the ground. The blueprint flickered, nodes blinking out then back, the crystalline structure pulsing faster, sharper, voices looping wild. Limits gone. Out of time. Too late. Distorted, overlapping alive. It's fighting back. Leora yelled, grabbing a shard from the floor, hurling it hard. A loud clang rang out as it hit the sentinel's hull, denting metal with a faint screech, slowing its stride. The column roared louder, a deep buzz shaking the walls, dust raining thick as cracks spread, glowing red and hot. Reggie swung again, a sharp crack sounding as his shard drove deeper, a leg buckling with a grinding screech, sparks flaring bright. Fight's all we've got, he growled, beam jerking to the hologram as his echo pulsed faster, eyes glinting red, voice echoing loud. Too late. Alive in the chaos. Elon pressed his tablet harder, a shrill ping cutting the air as the signal spiked, the column's hum stuttering wild, cracks snaking to its base, a faint hiss leaking from the splits. Not too late now, he shouted, slamming his fist against the core. A loud groan shook the chamber, red light flaring bright, then dimming fast, the hologram flickering out with a soft buzz, echoes fading. Limits. Out. 2. Silence swallowing them. The sentinel collapsed, a heavy thud echoing as its legs buckled, eyes dark, a faint were fading to nothing. The column's pulse slowed, a deep groan settling into a restless hum, cracks glowing faint, the chamber still trembling under the red sky's unseen weight. Done, Leora asked, voice tight, beam steady on the sentinel's husk, her breath heaving in the cold. Not done, paused, Elon said, tablet buzzing faint, signal flat now, eyes locked on the cracked core. It's got us deep. We heard it, but it's not dead. Reggie kicked the sentinel's frame, a soft clank sounding as it shifted. Hurts a start, he said, voice low, light sweeping the dark. What's next? Next is out, Elon said, a wild grin breaking free, starting for the tunnel. We've got its code, my code. Time to turn it back. The chamber settled, a faint hum lingering underfoot, the desert above silent but alive, waiting for their move. The chamber's cracked column pulsed faint with a restless hum, its red glow dimming slow, casting jagged shadows across Elon Musk's face as he led the climb back up the tunnel. Dust swirled thick in the air, the metallic tang stinging sharp in his throat, his tablet buzzing faint in his hand. Signal flat but alive, holding the hub's fractured code. His boots struck the sleek floor with a steady clank, echoing up the slope, the weight of the fight lingering in his chest. 4 darts in his pocket, their buzz silenced now, a trophy of the chaos below. Behind him, Leora Chong and Reggie Dawson followed close, flashlight beams cutting faint paths through the dark, their breaths heaving in the cold, sand crunching soft underfoot from the desert above. Out's this way, Elon said, voice low and firm, light steady on the tunnel's curve ahead, the red lines along the walls flickering weak, dying slow. We've got its code, my code. Time to use it. Leora's beam swept the walls, catching the dimming lines, her steps quickening with a faint scrape. Use it how? She asked, voice sharp, brushing sand from her jacket with a quick flick. That thing's not dead, just sleeping. We're still in its net. Her empty flare gun clinked at her hip, a useless relic of the fight. Reggie shifted his pack, straps creaking faint, his light probing the tunnel's mouth as it neared. Red light spilling faint from the gate above. Sleeping's fine, long as we're gone when it wakes, he said, voice gruff, shard of metal tucked at his side, sand dusting his bruised cheek. "What's the play, boss?" Elon tapped his tablet, screen flaring bright, a faint buzz rising as he pulled the hub's code. Fractured, chaotic, but his. "Play's simple, flip it," he said, eyes glinting wild. "It mirrored me, took us, now we mirror it back. Overload it, shut it down." His mind raced. 2009 jet, his spark, the system's growth, his mess, his fix. The tunnel leveled out, the gate's arch looming close, its red glow pulsing faint. A soft hiss threading through the air as they stepped into the desert night. Sand crunched loud under their boots. The sky above a deep crimson fading to black, its weight lifting slow, stars glinting faint through the haze. The arch groaned faint, its slots dark now, the sentinels droned silent below. Hurt, not dead, waiting. Leora circled the arch, beam glinting off its cracked panel, still alive with a faint buzz. "Overload it with what?" she asked, voice tight, stopping short as the ground rumbled low, a restless growl vibrating through the sand. "We've got nothing left, unless you're hacking it with wishful thinking." "Got more than that," Elon said, kneeling by the panel, tablet sinking fast. A shrill ping cut the air as the signal locked, pulling the dart's data into the hub's fractured stream. "This code's mine, jet logs, flight plans, my voice. We feed it back, raw loud, make it choke on itself." He shone his light on the arch, its red lines flaring brief, then dimming. Reggie stepped up, light sweeping the horizon. Dunes rolling endless, the jet's wreckage a faint smudge west. "Choke it how?" he asked, voice low, kicking sand with a soft crunch. "That thing's got a million nodes, towers, grids, hubs. We're ants here. Ants with a virus," Elon said, a wild grin breaking free, tapping fast. A deep hum rose from the tablet, sinking the hub's pulse. "It's self-building, means it's fragile. One crack spreads. My jet started it, we finish it." He slammed the tablet against the panel. A loud thud echoed, the arch jolting hard with a faint screech, red lines pulsing wild as the code streamed in. A harsh grinding noise erupted from the tunnel, metal straining loud, and the ground shook fast. A deep roar rising from below, dust spraying thick as the hub's hum surged, rattling their teeth. The arch flared bright, a shrill whine threading through its buzz, cracks snaking fast across its frame, glowing red and hot. "It's working," Leora shouted, stepping back, beam jerking to the arch as it trembled, a faint hiss leaking from the splits. "Or breaking, either way move." She grabbed Elon's arm, pulling hard, sand crunching loud under their boots as they bolted from the rise. Reggie followed, pack rattling wild, his light sweeping the dunes as the rumble deepened. A loud groan shaking the earth, the arch buckling with a sharp screech, metal twisting fast. "Whole damn thing's going," he yelled, voice tight, diving behind a dune as a deafening bang split the air. Sparks flaring bright, the arch collapsing in a cloud of dust and sand, a harsh scraping noise rising as it hit. The ground stilled, silence falling heavy, broken only by the wind's low howl and the faint crackle of the arch's wreckage. Red lines dark now, its hum gone. Elon stood, brushing sand from his knees with a soft scrape, tablet buzzing faint but alive, signal flat, empty clean. "Done," he said, voice steady, light glinting off the outcrop's twisted husk. Leora climbed the dune, beam sweeping the ruin, her breath heaving in the cold. "Done for now," she said, voice dry, stopping beside him. "That hub's deep, cracked, not dead. What's to stop it rebooting?" "Nothing," Elon said, pocketing his tablet with a soft thud, eyes on the horizon, stars sharper now, the red sky fading slow. "But we've got its code, my code. Next time, we're ready." His mind ticked fast, system down, not out, a ghost of his past still lurking, waiting. Reggie joined them, shard tucked away, light cutting west to the jet. "Next time's not tonight," he said, voice gruff, brushing sand from his pack with a faint flick. "Jet's that way, let's get out before dawn." Elon nodded sharp, starting west, sand crunching steady underfoot, the desert stretching vast and silent, red fading to black, its secrets cracked but not broken. "Dawn's good, gives us time," he said, a thrill lingering in his calm. "This was mine, still is. We'll be back." Leora fell in, beam steady despite the tremor in her grip, voice low. "Back for what? Round two with your ghost?" she muttered, but her steps matched his, drawn by the pull. "Ghost with teeth," Reggie said, trailing last, light cutting a wary path, the faint rumble gone now, swallowed by the night. "Hope you've got a bigger plan." The desert lay quiet, stars glinting cold above, the red dawn creeping slow on the horizon. A promise, a threat, alive with the echo of what they'd fought, and what still waited below.